Hello everyone, a warm welcome to this presentation session. Today we are going to discuss about Bhasma Pariksha. Moving to the introduction, we all know Bhasma, it is a unique preparation in Ayurveda which is obtained after different pharmaceutical processes, that is like Shodhana, Bhavana and finally Marana. We are getting this Bhasma. So these bhasmas will be in a fine state of division, that is, the particle size will be ranging from micro to nano level. And this state of subdivision of metals and minerals are attained by exposing to heat, that is known as Puta in Ayurveda. Various Bhasma Parikshas are told in ancient classics. If we look into the details of these tests are actually very simple and cost effective and can be performed by any Ayurveda scholar. And these tests not only reveal the physical nature of the Bhasma, but also it confirms about the chemical stability of the Bhasma. So these are the tests for assessment of proper Bhasma. Around 14 tests are available in different classical textbooks. First one is Varitara, then UNNAMA or UTTAMA Bhasma Pariksha, then SHLAKSHNATA evam MRUDUTA, Rekhapurnata, NISCHANDRA, Anjanasadrishya Sukshmatvam, Nirdhumatvam, NIRUTTHAM, Apunarbhavam, Amla Pariksha, VARNA Pariksha, गतरसत्वम or Niswadu, Dandakre Kachakachabhavaha, and certain other specific tests for particular Bhasmas. So let's look each criteria in detail. So first test is Varitara Pariksha. In this test, the prepared Bhasma, we have to take a pinch of prepared Bhasma and it is sprinkled over the surface of stagnant water. If the Bhasma floats, then it is said to be properly prepared. If it sinks, then it is incomplete. So the reference is Mritam tarati yat toye loham varitaram hitat. That is the Bhasma which is floating over the water, that Bhasma is known as Varitara Bhasma. Okay. We all know usually a metal or mineral, it is heavier and it will sink when we put it in water. But when the same is converted into Bhasma, the gravitational force created by the weight of the particles is less, and so that it is unable to break the surface tension of water and hence floats. So in this image you can see the Bhasma particles floating over the water. This Bhasma has passed the Varitara Pariksha. So second criteria is UNNAMA or UTTAMA Bhasma Pariksha. This test we usually perform after we get the Varitara Bhasma positive. Here, when a grain of rice or dhanya is placed over Varitara Bhasma, the grain floats on the surface of Bhasma. Then it is said to be properly prepared. The same interpretation can be given as for Varitara, that is, the weight of the grain is also not able to break the surface tension of water. The reference is Tasya upari guru dravyam dhanyam cha upanayet dhruvam hamsavat tiryade varinyuttamam parikirtitam. Tasya upari guru dravyam, that is, on the Bhasma which has passed the Varitara Pariksha. If we put a grain over that Varitara passed Bhasma, then it will float. The dhanya, that is the cereal grain, will float along over the Bhasma. it will like a swan, it will float. That is Hamsavat Tiryade Varini. Then it is known as Uttama Bhasma. So it has passed this test, Uttama Bhasma Pariksha or UNNAMA test. Okay. So here you can see the paddy grains are floating over the Varitara Bhasma. It is not able to break the surface tension. Okay, so it has passed the Uttama Pariksha. Okay, then comes SHLAKSHNATA evam MRUDUTA, that is to be satisfied by every prepared Bhasma. That is, the prepared Bhasma is rubbed between the fingers. Then the Bhasma should be smooth to touch. This indicates the fineness of the Bhasma. If it is smooth, then there are no big particles present. So in this image you can see the SHLAKSHNATA and MRUDUTA is tested by using the fingers. Then comes the fourth test, that is Rekhapurnata. In this, the prepared Bhasma is rubbed between the thumb and index finger. If it enters, the Bhasma particles enters the furrows of the fingers, then it is considered to be complete. It also tells about the SHLAKSHNATA and MRUDUTA of the Bhasma. While rubbing the Bhasma, it should be smooth and soft to touch. This tells about the fineness of the Bhasma. That is, when the particle size of Bhasma is between 1 to 2 microns or less, then it is said to enter the furrows of the fingers. So the reference from Dasharatha Samuchaya is like this. Angushta Tarjani Sprishtam. Angushta means thumb and Tarjani, it is the index finger. Sprishtam Yet Tat Reghandare Vishet Mritam Loham Taduddhishtam Rekhapurna Abhidhanataha. So it should enter into the furrows of the fingers. That is the impressions, fingerprints. In between the fingerprints, it should be embedded. Then it is said to be a Rekhapurna Bhasma. It indicates that the particle size is in between 1 to 2 microns or less. Then only this test will be passed by the Bhasma. So you can see the Bhasma particles get trapped in the ridges of the fingerprints. Okay. Then comes the fifth test, that is NISCHANDRA Pariksha. Here the Bhasma is taken and it is rubbed between thumb and index finger and held against bright light. If any shining particles are present, then the Bhasma is incomplete. So there should not be any shining particles in the Bhasma. Then here usually the metal or mineral has a specific shine and luster, which makes it to shine in bright light. But the same metal or mineral, when converted into Bhasma form, it loses its shine as it is converted into its salts, which does not have any luster. Then the sixth test is Anjana Sadrisha Sukshmatva. This also tells about the fineness of the Bhasma. That is, the particles are so fine like Anjana, like a collyrium, that it is not able to cause any irritation to the conjunctiva. Then comes the Nirdhumatva Pariksha. Usually these tests are performed in sulfur containing compounds. That is, if a Bhasma is prepared with sulfur, Gandhaga, or if the mineral contains sulfur bounded to it, then this test is performed. Here, the Bhasma is heated in a dry test tube. Then it should not produce any smoke, or we can perform the test by sprinkling this Bhasma on red hot coal. Then also it should not emit smoke. Means the test is positive. Gandhaka and other vegetative drugs used during the preparation turns to smoke when heated in a test tube, and usually Gandhaka gets deposited at the cooler sides of the test tube, thus confirming that the Bhasma is not properly prepared. Here, in this way, we can perform the Nirdhumatva Pariksha. If the smoke is emitting, then we can say the Bhasma is not said to be complete. Then comes Niruttha Pariksha. Here, the Bhasma is heated with the equal weight of pure silver and the weight of silver is checked. So here we have to take a quantity, initially weighed quantity of silver, and it is heated along with the Bhasma, and later the weight of silver is checked. If the weight of silver is unchanged, then Bhasma is complete. This silver has a great affinity for other metals and especially sulfur, etc., due to which it attracts other metals towards it. If the Bhasma is unstable and if free metals are present in the Bhasma, it will combine with the silver, thus increasing the weight of silver. So, Raupyana saha samyuktam dhmatam Raupyana no laget. That is, it will not get bound to Raupya. Raupyana no laget. Tada niruttamityuktam loham tada Apunarbhava. That kind of Bhasma, that is, if there is no changes observed in Raupya, then that Bhasma is said to be Nirutha. Nirutha, that is, it has passed to the Niruttha Pariksha. So here we have to take a thin foil of silver and it is to be taken along with the Bhasma in a crucible and heated. Then the same sample of silver foil is again weighed. If there is any change, any increase in weight, then the Bhasma is said to be formed incomplete. We have to perform again, Puta again, and then we have to test it for Bhasma Pariksha. Then comes the test Apunarbhavam. Here, Jagari, Gunja, Tankana, Madhu and Grida, these 5 specimens or samples are taken in equal quantity and mixed thoroughly, and it is then mixed with the equal quantity of Bhasma and heated in a musha. After cooling, it is observed for the presence of shining metal particles in it. If free metal particles are present, then it shows that the Bhasma is incomplete. Gudha Gunja Sugasparsha Madhu Ajihi Sahayojidam Na Ayati Pragadhim Tmanad Apunarbhavam Uchyade. That is, if we are heating the Bhasma along with these substances, then we are not able to retrieve the metallic state of the particle that we have subjected to Puta. Okay. The Mitra Panchaga drugs. These are actually the Mitra Panchaga drugs explained by Rasaratna Samchaya. And when heated, they will turn to carbon, and this carbon acts as a reducing agent, thus bringing out the loosely bonded metal from the Bhasma. And here the Tankana in this compound, in this yoga, helps in reducing the melting point of the metal, and hence if the Bhasma is not properly prepared or unstable, the shining particles are seen. So these are the drugs that we are using to test for Apunarbhavatvam, and we have to mix these drugs with the Bhasma and heated. Then comes the Amla Pariksha. Here, this is specially performed for Tamra and Tutta Bhasma. In this test, the prepared Bhasma is sprinkled on sour curd. So, the curd should have amlata. That is, its pH should be ranging from 3 to 3.5. And if the color of dadi remains unchanged, then the Bhasma is complete. If the Bhasma is not properly prepared, then the free metal present in the Bhasma will combine with acid in Dadi, forming blue colored salts of copper, and hence it should be discarded. So here in the first image you can see the Bhasma is sprinkled over the Dadi and there is no color change. While in the second image there is a bluish greenish color change we can see on the surface of the curd. This is known as Amla Pariksha, especially performed in copper containing compounds. Then comes Varna Pariksha. Here each and every Bhasma possesses a specific color, and based on this we can identify whether this Bhasma has been prepared properly or it has formed properly, and any change in the normal color of Bhasma can be observed and identified. According to Yogaratnakara, the textbook has explained the Varna of Bhasma like this, that is, Swarnam Champaka Varnabham Krishnatvam Taratamrayoho Kamsyam Dhusara Varnam Syat Nagaha Paravata Prabha Vangam Shubratvamayadi Tikshnam Jambu Falobhamam Abragam Cheshtigabam Syad Dhatunam Varna Nirnayaha. So, from the table you can see Swarna Bhasma will have Champaka Varna, and for Tara and Tamra, that is for silver and copper, there will be black colored Bhasma, and for Kamsya Dhusara Varna, dusty, and for Naga Paravata Varna, and for Vanga Shubhra Varna, Tikshna Loha Jambu Phala Varna, and for Abhraga Ishtika Varna. So, this is the Varna of Swarna Bhasma, Champaka Varna, slightly yellowish. And you can see the Krishna Varna of Tamra Bhasma and the Dhusara Varna of Kamsya Bhasma. Then Naga Bhasma, it will have the Varna similar to Paravata, pigeon. And Vanga Bhasma, it is having Shubhra Varna, that is whitish. Then Loha Bhasma, Jambu Phala Varna, that is having the color of jambu fruit. Here, in case of Loha Bhasma, mostly ferrous oxide, ferrous sulfide and ferric oxide will be present in the Bhasma. And this ferrous oxide and the ferrous sulfide will be black in color, while ferric oxide is red in color. And combination of all these compounds makes the Loha Bhasma purple in color. And if we look at the Abhraga Bhasma, it is Ishtika Varna, similar to brick. And the next criteria, next test is to be performed is gतरसत or निस्वादु. That is, if we taste this prepared Bhasma, it will not be having any specific taste at all. Then it should also not cause any nausea or vomiting or tingling sensation, as in case of Varatika Bhasmas, etc. So, it should not possess any taste or any irritation. It should not cause any irritation to the tongue. Then comes the 13th test, that is Dantakre Kachakacha Bhavaha. That is, when a small pinch of Bhasma is kept in between the upper and lower incisor teeth and crushed, it does not make any rough sound Kachakacha if properly prepared. We usually experience if we bite stone particles or taking food or rice, etc. There will be a specific grittiness we feel in our teeth in between. Grittiness, that is known as kachakachatva. Kachakachiti na dantagre kurvanti samani ketaki rajasa. It will be similar, fine as like of the ketaki raja. Ketaki means the pandanus tree. Kaida, it is known as kaita in Malayalam, kaida, and the Bhasma will be similar in texture like that of the ketaki rajas, that is the pollen of ketaki. And yogyani hi prayoge rasa uparasa loha churnani. If it is not causing this kachakachatva, then this Bhasma of rasa, uparasa and loha are to be therapeutically used. Then let's look into the other specific test that is explained in these classical textbooks. For example, in case of Loha Bhasma, if we put some Loha Bhasma on cut surface of Amalaka, that is the gooseberry, no black discoloration will be there, which indicates the Bhasma is complete. And in case of Haratala Bhasma, we have to take 1 rati, that is 125 milligram of Haratala Bhasma, along with the Lavanadrava, means hydrochloric acid, and heated. This mixture is heated on tripod stand on spirit lamp. If yellow color powder settles down in the test tube, then it is positive for Haratala Bhasma. So this is a specific test mentioned only for Haratala Bhasma. No other Bhasma can be subjected to this test. Okay. So in total, we have discussed all the criteria that has to be performed to assess the perfection of a Bhasma, whether it is formed completely or not. So concluding, this Bhasma Pariksha mentioned in classical textbooks are actually the quality control parameters that is to be tested to ensure the product quality, that is to ensure the quality of the Bhasma. And Ayurveda physicians should perform these tests during their daily practice, thus reducing the untoward side effects and making people develop faith in Rasashastra, especially in Bhasmas. So, for the time being, we have discussed the topic in detail, and we have discussed the specific parikshas mentioned in different textbooks in a combined form. So I think the concept is clear for you, and here I will like to thank all of you for your patient listening. And in the next class we will discuss a topic that is related to Shodhana. And for the time being, let's stop this presentation. Once again, thank you for your patient listening.